First of all, guys, nice to meet you, and really sorry not having the opportunity to meet you face to face. I have some personal appointment this morning, and also the COVID situation is becoming worse and worse. So we are getting more and more restrictions on traveling internationally. So if not, I would love to have been the opportunity to meet all of you there. A quick introduction, myself, and I'm Antonio Aguizabal. I'm the head of IT Operations Service Delivery Team within Pernod-Ricard. Hopefully, you know Pernod-Ricard, and
Yes, yes,
probably, at least I hope that you know some of the brands that we
yes.
have in
We are Danish after all.
Perfect, but it depends. I want you to ensure that you know everything about us, that you know the brands. We are the second worldwide spirits company over the world. So we are multinational company. It's true. We were founded in Paris, so headquarters is in Paris, but we are no longer some kind of French company at all. In fact, we are an absolutely decentralized organization. Pernod Ricard, just as a small background of the company, has a physical presence in more than 90 countries. We are more than 18,000 employees all over the world. It's a company that has been evolving from a very decentralized model through the different kind of merge and acquisitions in the past. But despite this decentralized model and the interest to remain as close as possible to our different businesses, it's true that in the last years, there has been some evolution in the way that the global teams are designed, and there are much more exactly that concept of global teams, or sometimes what we call COEs or centers of expertise that provide services to the rest of the organization. Okay, Pernod Ricard also is quite complex in terms of the different profiles of the people, because within the company we have different kind of, I will say, business teams. We have certain people that are really what we call brand companies, so the companies that produce our products. So the companies that really make the whiskey, the vodka, the cognac, champagne. So that's what we call brand companies. And also we have another kind of companies that is what we call affiliate as such. That is the companies that in every country distribute the products of Pernod Ricard produced by the brand companies into each of the different countries. So the approach is that we have mix of different profiles within the company, different needs, and not always fully aligned in terms of the ways of working. I belong to IT, so concretely my role is within the IT operations. So IT is split in three main teams within Pernod Ricard. The first one is what we call IT governance, in charge of processes, in charge of compliances, audits, etc. The second big one is what we call IT solutions. Is the IT solutions are the teams in charge of developing the best solution for the different business. IT solutions remains also pretty close to the businesses in the different countries and in the different regions. And the third one is the IT operations. IT operations is a global team. We are responsible for providing the services to the rest of the IT, but also to the rest of the business on a worldwide basis. In IT operations, well, I will say not only IT operation in IT, that's where we launched a project that we call Asgard. Is our demand portfolio and project management framework. Asgard name comes not only from having some kind of Nordic
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds
feeling.
very Nordic.
Exactly, it's a Nordic experience. So now we are working with Projectum, so we decided to give it a Nordic style, but also probably you know better than me that Asgard is what was the Valhalla was supposed to be, and I think all of us are really expecting to reach the Valhalla as quick as possible. Okay, so that was the aspiration of calling the project Asgard. But why we need a new framework for PPM? But to be honest, it's not even a new framework. Probably the question is why we need a framework for PPM. As I mentioned, Pernod-Ricard was historically pretty decentralized, and every team was nearly doing their best in the way of delivering projects or managing the projects. So due to all the set of transformations that we are doing in IT, especially in IT operations, but not only, that made transformation that was mostly to create a real global team. Until now, until that point in time, we were a little bit more regional, so it really became a global team. We were detecting that there was a significant lack of visibility in terms of the way that we were executing the projects. Visibility at the low level, but also at the higher level. So when we have to answer questions around where we are with certain projects and how the projects, which is our roadmap for the next years, we always have difficulties to have a clear and precise view. So there was a significant lack of visibility. Additionally, there was a significant level of difficulties on applying the processes that has been defined. I have a tendency, guys, to be absolutely pragmatic in my speech and in the way to approach all the projects. So it's true that from the processes point of view, we already have defined a bunch of processes. So it was not a problem of process definition. The process definition were pretty nice. They was pretty nice in the slides. They were pretty nice in the documentation, and we were pretty happy to show our processes in paper. The challenge was when we really were checking if those processes were really implemented, we have to say honest, to be honest, and say not really, or not in the way that we were expecting it to be implemented. So that was another third reason that drove us to really try to change the framework that we were using for DPPM in order to ensure that the process that were previously defined were really applied, and also the opportunity to challenge the processes a little bit. Obviously, any effort on delivering projects always has in mind that we really wanted to improve our service delivery capacity. No need to explain, probably all of you have exactly the same comments, that the business is really demanding to be much faster, much quicker in the way that we deliver projects. Business really cannot wait anymore for a long project to be delivered that takes 2 years to be delivered, because probably after 2 years that service is no longer required or not exactly in the same way. So always in our minds was the final objective to improve our service delivery capacities and to deliver projects in a much better way in terms of budget, in terms of timing, in terms of resources, another big topic. So again, we really wanted to progress on that. So with those topics in mind, we really and just to say what is good to know is that those reasons that we consider that we were having to create a new framework are not only ours. We see in the market, and you have in the slide is there some kind of keys, some kind of messages coming from the market. I think this come from Forrester that the role of project managers, the role of the PMO, the role of the need to have a common and a standardized framework for managing all these topics is becoming critical for all the businesses, From all these messages from 1 to 5, I have a tendency to repeat permanently to all the things the first one, especially that everyone is a project manager, where we are coming from a model in the past where we used to have dedicated project managers, and then the technical guys just delivering the technical actions. We see that is changing completely, and now most of our staff needs to have some project manager skills at some point in time, because they need to act as a project manager in many cases, internally, but also because they need to coordinate external people. So we really see a change in the requirements for skills on project management that affects everybody. So with all those topics in mind, and with all those topics is when we look at the market and we decided to go with a set of a framework that we really think that makes a perfect mix for our needs. That finally, all of them is what we call Asgard, is what we compose our framework for the PPM. We are, Pernod-Ricard is a quite heavy Microsoft customer at some point in time. So obviously we already have some framework for additional services in place based on Microsoft tool. So when we look at Power PPM, one of the things that we like more was exactly that was based on the Microsoft technologies and that was fully aligned with their strategy, but also having the capacity to integrate seamlessly with the rest of our environment. So if we have a glimpse of that framework based on Microsoft technologies, what we have in place today is we have a core of the PPM that is based on the Power Hub, sorry, the Power PPM solution that is additionally embedded into the rest of the environments that we have, and basically our environment for collaboration and communication that is based on Microsoft Teams. So we have a full integration of Power PPM with Teams. Also, we really wanted to integrate with our reporting framework, and the reporting framework that we have in Pernod-Ricard is mostly based on Power BI. Data is becoming also critical, and again, all the businesses are moving themselves to become a data-driven company. So we already have an existing framework in Pernod-Ricard, quite complex but quite powerful, to be able to analyze data and to generate reports, dashboard, and take decisions based on that and integrate all the data into our regular flows of activity. That was based on Power BI in many cases, in a nutshell. So that's the reason that we chose to use Power BI in collaboration with Power Hub as our reporting framework. Resource management, indeed, that's something that we are considering for the next phase to be able to increase our way to deliver resource management, and obviously we'll be using Team Planner for that. And finally, in that slide we have is the way that we are recommended to do some kind of task management through the usage of Microsoft Planner. Probably I will discuss a little bit more later, because we always distinguish what is project management, that what is task management, and we provide a certain level of flexibility to the different teams in the way that they do task management. Planner is our recommendation for most of the teams, but we have additional alternatives depending on the needs of the different teams, depending on the way that those teams are working. If they are much more agile or they work in a slightly different way. So we are giving flexibility. What we are trying to ensure that everybody, no matter which kind of methodology, no matter which kind of technology they use for task management, they align through Power PPM and through the rest of the environment to have a consistent way of tracking the projects and tracking the activity. So the main reasons then that we chose this framework, mostly based on the Projectum capabilities and Microsoft One. The first one is flexibility. We have seen many times in the past an attempt to implement this kind of framework, this kind of tools. And what we realize is that trying to move into a very rigid and very static platform will never work, will never be accepted, because the time to be implemented will be so long that will never be effective. So the flexibility capabilities on Power PPM and the rest of products was one of the key topics that we chose Power PPM. The second one is as I told you, we always have quite a pragmatic approach. We really want to avoid complexity, and we really want to go step by step. We need to show the value of these platforms to ensure that the platform can sell itself with the values and the benefits of using it. Third one, user experience. Again, one of the lessons learned from our past experiences is that if we go for something very complex, even if it can be perceived as powerful, is typically rejected, but people don't really want to learn new topics. And at the end, we use only a few set of the capabilities, at least at the beginning. So we were looking for something simple to use, easy to learn, And that's also absolutely clear when we have this platform that is fully embedded with Microsoft, that we are already familiar with that. And the last 2 points that really justify or make us to make this choice was the capacity of integrate the platform with additional tools. I just mentioned some of them, but we have many other tools and services that at some point in time needs to be integrated. And just thinking, for instance, in financial systems or our ITSM platforms, where at some point in time we know that there will be some requirements for integration. Obviously, this is, and last but not least, is also just to finish the capacity of the platform to evolve. We are increasing our maturity through the time, so we need to ensure that the platform and the capacities also evolve with us. So all those topics, flexibility, integration with our environment, a pragmatic approach, user interface method to make the choice. So what we have implemented today, having the screen, hopefully you can see some kind of screenshots of the way that we have, in a practical way, that we have implemented of those topics. We are mostly using Teams for collaboration framework. So you have in the background is just a Teams. In that Teams is where we may have all the different projects that we are executing group as we really wish, based on teams, based on departments, based on specific projects. So we have a number of projects. For each of those projects that appears to be as like a channel in this, is where the people can collaborate, can share documents, collaborate on the project. In each of those tabs, in each of those channels is where we have the task management. And I told you that we are really recommending to use a planner as the default task management, but not only, but it's already included there. But at the same time is where we have all the Power PPM information coming to the tool. So what you can see is that it's a common place based on tools that people are familiar with, like Teams, like Planner, where we can find everything. A good thing also is that as that platform is generic for all the Pernod-Ricard employees, and not only for IT, it's pretty simple that we can collaborate with people outside of IT, with the business, or pretty simple because they are used to that environment also. So they don't really need to know our Asgard platform, our project management platform, because all the collaboration is done exactly in the framework of tools that everybody is using. So that's another great value, to have that capacity to extend the usage to more people pretty easily. That's the default environment space that we use. Also, additionally, in terms of the reporting, I told you that we are really using the reporting based on Power BI. That's also, everybody's pretty familiar with that. So what we have tried to build, starting from the out-of-the-box report that Power PPM was providing, was a bunch of different levels of reporting with a different audience at each of the levels. So we have a bunch of reporting that start from the very high-level view, from the portfolio view, focus on the main KPIs, the finances view, and the execution at that level. But people can then start drill down to the different levels of the information. So we have organized in those 4 levels, starting from the portfolio. The next level is what we call the project summary. So each team or each project manager or each head of can really see all the projects under his responsibility. And not only, because we follow a quite, I will say, transparency approach, we allow nearly everyone to have visibility around the project status, so everybody can really see which is the status on whatever project, no matter which project is. There is only very few projects that are considered more, I would say, confidential, that are limited access, but the vast majority of the projects are open in terms of visibility, and we offer everybody to see which is the status on that project. So those 4 levels, portfolio, project summary, project status, so a detailed project status, and the final one is really a task analysis. It's not ready yet. We are just finishing soon. Provides that consistent reporting capabilities where everybody can focus on the level that really is useful for that. One message here is that as we use Power BI as a reporting tool, the data that you can see in the screen comes not only from Power PPM, we are mixing information coming from Planner, for instance, for Microsoft Planner, I mean, from the task analysis, but we are also including certain information coming from our financial systems or from ITSM. So that's another key message, and the values, we embed multiple sources of information into one consolidated place where people can see everything that is relevant to the follow-up and the execution of the project without the need to go to a different tool or different platform. All this environment is currently deployed to a bunch of people, so it's not deployed globally. We deploy to a IT operation and certain additional teams. Right now, we have a significant appetite for many other teams to join this framework. So hopefully, this platform is becoming the standard framework globally in Pernod Ricard once we have shown the value and the capacities of the platform. After that implementation, which is our main feedback for that? Well, the feedback probably pretty typical is that implementing this kind of framework requires an increase into the level of skills of the people. As I told you, one of the messages that we are transmitting is that now everybody is a project manager. So we need to ensure that everybody within the organization has certain levels of skills in terms of project manager. We are not looking for everybody to become a guru on this area, but to ensure that they really understand what they are doing and the reasons that we are asking certain information. So that's where we are at this point in time, trying to increase those skills, trying to improve our maturity. And the maturity, I always say that we need to work before running. So especially which is your starting point, let's be pragmatic. Let's start with something that really makes sense. Let's start with something that really shows the value per se, and that will allow us to increase the maturity within all the teams. So that's also the feedback in terms of how we evolve. In terms of adoption, the feedback is we need to listen to the team. I mean, sometimes when this kind of decision and project comes from the, I will say, more traditional project managers or PMO leaders, they don't listen to the people that at some point should use the tool and should leverage the reporting and everything. So we need to listen a lot to the teams to really understand what is critical for them, what is not, what topics are really creating a problem for them, and trying to help them on resolving those problems and providing quick wins as soon as possible. If we are not able to convince and to show to all our staff and the people the value of these tools, they will never use it. No matter which the level of effort that we do, they will just forget it pretty soon. So the adoption requires that we listen to everybody and trying to accommodate to their needs, even if those needs are not, I will say, totally aligned with the processes. We will move to that once the maturity is better, but we need to have and accept some flexibility, especially at the beginning, in the way that we manage the projects, in the way that we deliver that. So that's the final outcomes from me, is that let's allow certain flexibility if we really want to ensure the adoption of the platform.
Antonio, quick question.
Sure.
What do you mean in the skills box? We have this hope that the execution tools are also becoming more and more user-friendly. But are you saying that you still need to train the PMs, that there should still be a training effort, or is it easier than before? Or?
No, I mean, let's distinguish two things. One is the user experience per se, so the way that the tool is designed and how easy or complex the usage of the tool is. this tool, this framework as such is pretty simple to use from the user experience point of view for different reasons. One is because it's simple per se. Second is because the environment of the user interface is pretty standard within Microsoft. So if you are familiar with the Microsoft environment, you will get pretty used to really understand the user interface. That's one thing. So the user experience is simple. So there is no need for a huge training in terms of the user experience. What I want to say is that people that are supposed to use the tool that really becomes project manager, not always used to have those skills for project managers. Could be even discussing with them around how to manage risk, how to manage issues. That's something that they know what it is, but they never were used to manage that in a certain way.
Okay,
so that's why I said that improving a little bit the skills is critical to ensure that really benefits and see the expected value of the tool. Okay,
got it.
We haven't done, just following your question around the training and etc. We haven't gone through very, I will say, traditional training and so or very formalized one. No, we have gone through. Obviously, there has been a number of demos, a number of those showcases where we were showing the usage. We have provided some basic material around the basic things, and then just asking them, guys, start using it. Start using the tool, start with the basic, and this is what we consider the basics. Start doing it, you will learn on your own. So we are done in that way instead of entering into very formal trainings about project management, about everything. So again, absolutely pragmatic. This is the basics. This is a small set of material that you can use to learn. Please use it, and we will learn through the experience. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, what's next for us? This is a never-ending story. Okay, so I think I'm seeing this more and more in IT, that no matter which project, no matter which service, no matter which capacity you want to deploy, we need to forget in our minds that this is a project. You deliver, you do it, you finish, and you forget it. That's nothing like that anymore. Anywhere in IT, I think anywhere in no business needs. Everything now requires to be on a continuous improvement mode. Every single service is evolving continuously. So we need to really assume that the change is never going to finish. So the way that we manage the changes needs to be absolutely embedded into our mindsets and into our ways of working. And this is applicable to everything in IT nowadays. So obviously in this environment of PPM, it's exactly the same. So, but we are more concrete about which are our next steps on this journey. But the first is that we need to keep pushing around adoption. That should always remain. This is, I say that this is the long distance race. So we need to ensure that the adoption is really is a success. If we don't ensure that the people adopt the tool, the framework, and using it, it's useless. So we need to keep pushing on adoption, and that will be done through continuous sessions, Q&A sessions, whatever activity that we will see useful, we will implement to ensure adoption. The next areas of increasing our scope in the tool are those three ones that you have in the screen. The first one is resource management. One of the first questions that I got from our leadership teams and when we started the project is that they wanted to have that capacity to understand our workload capacity, mostly to be able to answer our real facts about our capacity to deliver new projects. Until now, until pretty recently, that capacity was some kind of best estimation or best effort to the team. So the head of or the different teams had some of non-structured way to determine the workload for the next months. Through resource management, we expect to have the capacity to really show the facts about that, which is our workloads capacity, which is our real capacity in our teams to deliver the projects, in order to the leadership team to take actions and delay projects, postpone, increase the resources through external or internal teams. But luckily, this will provide facts about that, our capacity to deliver. The next point is around, I told you that we are clearly distinguishing between project management from task management. Task management can be done in different ways, depending of the methodologies, depending of the team's structure, depending of the way that you are working. We are providing flexibility on that. We are recommending the usage of Planner for certain teams, or the embedded Gantt in Power PPM for another teams that they are more familiar with that. But we are also opening pretty soon to a more agile platform, because we have those tools already in place in certain teams. So we are going to proceed with the integration of Power PPM with Jira, and also we are considering the integration of Power PPM with Azure DevOps. That is part of the flexibility that I mentioned before. You cannot force all the teams in all the different business units to do that in the same way. So open your mind, let them to do as they are used to do it, because in some cases it makes sense. Just ensure that the integration capacities are there in order to receive information and to consolidate the view around the execution of the project. So that's part of our next phase 2 that we are already starting and working with Projectum starting now to deliver those 2 topics of resource management and integration with Agile frameworks, especially with Jira. Last but not least is something that is curious, because we were working in parallel for implementing. Now we start to call it OKR. At the beginning, we were calling some kind of global Kpi dashboard, and it's curious because we were working in parallel. Right now, what we see that all that effort, all they need to have a clear set of KPIs to define qualitative, quantitative KPI, to be able to track and assign initiatives to achieve those KPIs, those key results, we call it now. We were already working on that. And I really realized that Projectum is also evolving the product to be able to use and to implement OKR, objective initiatives, as part of the platform. So I think we already discussed that we are really interested to really see how we can leverage also that, because it's also changed a little bit the approach, and really put the emphasis into the key results that we want to obtain, and which is the initiatives that will help to achieve those objectives. And no matter if those initiatives can be traditional projects, new projects that are arriving, no matter which methodology, no matter whatever, we may have this view about how each of the activities that we are executing contributes to those key results. And luckily, we have also the capacity to show and to really provide a better visibility about those executions. Okay. That's pretty much, guys, the comments. I don't know if you have any other questions, Jess, or I don't know if the audience can make any question. I'm happy to answer any question or any comment that you may have.